recording at this point. All right, so yeah, so section 7.2 is about multiplying powers with the same base. This is one of the two rules we kind of focused on in your last DMR cycle. And once we're into the actual lesson, it goes a little bit deeper than what we do on the DMR. So you'll see some tougher examples, but the fundamental thing that is important is this rule right here, right? If we multiply powers that have the same base, we add the exponents, right? So that's the key right there, that we add the exponents, right? And we've seen that before, so that's not a new idea. But that said, we will these examples will be a little bit tougher. Okay, so on this type of example, example 1 on MathXL, it'll say like write in exponential form, or write using a single exponent. In other words, like, if we type 12 to the 4th times 12 to the 3rd in our calculator, yeah. Oh, you did? Oh, did I just give you one sheet? Okay. Does everybody else have the front and the back side? Maybe double check real quick. There you go. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I was going to say is, if I type 12 to the 4th times 12 to the 3rd in my calculator, it's going to give me some big number, right? But we want to just express that in exponential form. So all we're looking to do is add those exponents because I have the same base there. I can take 4 plus 3, and then we get 12 to the 7th. So that's how you'll type in your answer on MathXL. Okay. Obviously, we could simplify 12 to the 7th, but we're not going to go there. All right, and then the next one, didn't see a whole lot of this on the DMR where we had a negative exponent and a positive exponent, but you want to just do the same thing. So we're going to take -5, which is my base, and then add those exponents. So -7 plus 2. So that's going to give me overall -5 to the power of, sorry, I wrote that a little wonky. Try that again. -5 to the power of -5. And then you would want to clean that up because it's got a negative exponent. All right. So from yesterday, could anybody clean up that for me? How could I rewrite that with a +5 exponent? Think back to yesterday. Anybody? Virtual, in person? All right. So what we would do is we would put 1 over -5. And then that would be raised to the 5th power. All right. So if you do have a negative exponent, you have to do that step. So anyways, on that note, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and try the next 3, C, D, and E. Okay. I gave you one from yesterday's stuff. Sorry about that, kiddo. Mm-hmm. If you just want to, I don't know if you want to use this one or not, but. And guys, when I call on you here, I'll probably just go answer only, and then if you have a follow-up question or if a bunch of people miss it, obviously, I'll show you a little more on that. All right, so in exponential form is the way I'm looking for my answers here. So let's go with, for C, Sierra Razor, can you tell me what I end up with? 8 to the what power? Kaylee, you want to give it a shot? Yeah, you just had it. Okay. Isaiah? 8 to the 9th. Very good. 3 plus 6 is 9. Looking at the next one. Andrew's not here. Gannon, can you tell me what I end up with for the next one? So 0.5 to the what power? Or actually, it's going to end up being a little bit different than that. But what'd you get on D, Gannon? I wonder if they're not coming through. Can anybody on the meet say something that I can? Can somebody just say hi or something?
Hi.
Thank you. All right, so let's just be MIA. Kaylee Browning, you want to take a shot at D? All right, let's try one more.
I still don't really get it.
Go ahead. What'd you say, Kaylee?
Which one did you say?
D.
I couldn't hear you.
Does anybody in the room have it? I need somebody who has it ready. Anybody? Okay, we got a lively bunch today. Let's just go through it then. So you go 0.5 to the power of -3 plus -8. So that would give you 0.5 to the -11. What about, can I get a volunteer to simplify that? What would that be equal to? Tristan? 1 over 0.5 to the 11th. That's exactly right. Now, what kind of is interesting on this one is that's actually also equal to, because 1 over 0.5 can be kind of easily simplified to 2. So this would also be equal to 2 to the 11th. Okay, so so that would be true as well. Basically, those two are the same thing. Okay. Let's see. Kira, were you able to get anywhere on E? 9 to the -3 times 9 squared times 9 to the 6. What's that simplified to? Sadie? 9 to the 5th is correct. Very good. Yeah, so all you're doing really in your calculator is -3 plus 2 plus 6, which is 5. All right, so moving on. Looking at the next one, these get a little bit tougher because I bring in some variable bases. I have some coefficients to deal with, right? And I think the biggest mistake people make on these is thinking that, like on something like, let's say, just make up a term, 2x squared. People think that the 2 goes with the 2 and the x, right? But remember, the exponent of the base 2 is 1, right? So you got to think part by part, okay, when we're thinking about exponents there. So just something to look out for, okay? And another way to say that or show that would be that 2x squared is not the same thing as, if I group 2x together and square that. Okay, those are not the same. Okay, so just be careful. All right, so let me do a couple. Maybe I'll do 3 and see if that helps you guys pick up on it a little quicker. Actually, okay, I have lots of these examples, so we'll work through several of these. All right, so looking at example A, 4z to the 5 times 9z to the -12. So basically, I almost treat these as if like I'm doing like terms, right? So basically, I group together the coefficients. Think about those together, and then I group together, do the power rule. Okay, so then I have also z to the 5th times z to the -12. I didn't really do anything there. I'm just kind of showing my thought process. All right, so when I simplify, then I end up with 36 to the power of z, 36 times z to the power of whatever 5 plus negative 12 is. 5 plus negative 12 is negative 7. So 36z to the negative 7. Now, that's a correct answer. That's equivalent to the correct answer. Who can tell me why who can tell me why MathXL would not accept that answer? Can anybody tell me? Why would that not be acceptable? Tristan? Negative exponent. Anybody want to take a stab at simplifying that for me? All right, so that would be equal to 36 over z to the positive 7. Does anybody have any questions about how I get from here to here? Okay, you guys just aren't real talkative today. All right, so looking at the next example, my coefficients are all going to go together. So I'm thinking 2 times 9 times 3 is going to be my coefficient, whatever that is, right? I'll let my calculator handle that for me so I don't make any silly mistakes. I put my a stuff together. So then I have a to the 1. I'm going to write a to the 1 just so we remember there's a 1 there, times a to the 1. And then I just have b to the 4th. It'll stay b to the 4th. So this one is a good reminder that we only add those exponents with the common base. In other words, I don't add, the 4 with the 2 1s, okay, because they don't have the same base. So altogether, what I end up with is, I believe that first one's 54 a squared b to the 4th. Then I just do a quick double check. Do I have anything that can be simplified? It looks like all my exponents are positive. So the answer is no. That's my final answer. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that one? Yes. The what? Oh, is it squared? Sorry, I covered it up with my timer there. So thank you, Tristan, for that. So looks like I had an exponent covered up there. So Tristan just pointed out that one of these a's is actually squared. Thank you very much. So what's that change my final answer to then? A to the what? 3rd. Very good. All right. Nice catch. Appreciate that. Any other questions or anything, comments? Awesome. All right, so moving along. I won't do all of these next 3, but we'll do a couple more together. Let's skip C and go to D, right? Because people start to get confused when we bring in those negative coefficients. All right, so my coefficient is going to be, and I'm going to need your help here because I don't have my calculator. So negative 4 times 7 times 2. And then I have C's. So my C's are going to be C cubed times C to the negative 2. And then I have that D squared term that's just going to stay D squared. All right, so let's see, negative 28, is that negative 56? I think negative 56. C to the 3 plus negative 2, so that'd just be C to the 1. And then D to the 2. All right, so I do see a negative here. So do I need to do the reciprocal of the negative 56 to make it positive? I don't, right? But that is a mistake people make, right? Because we get used to doing that. When we see a negative exponent, we have to flip it. So here's what people do wrong on this one. Just be careful. I'm just showing you a mistake here. So I'll see people do all that right, and then they'll say, so that's equal to C times D squared over positive 56. Okay, that's not correct. Okay, so just be careful. Again, just a reminder not to confuse normal multiplication rules with exponent rules. Okay, those things have to stay separate in your brain. Okay. All right, so I believe MathXL would accept this. If not, they may just have you remove the 1. So the normal way you'd see that is negative 56CD squared. All right. You guys want to see one more before you try a few, or you feel all right? One more? Okay, so I'm seeing some yeses. Let's look at maybe F. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave F for you. Let's look at I don't know. What do you guys want to see? Anybody want to see any one particular? C or E? They're about the same, really. Any preference? Kira? E? All right, let's look at E. All right, so my coefficient part is, I have 1j squared, 1k to the negative 2, and 12j. So my only real coefficient that I need to worry about is the 12. I'm not going to write 1 times 1 times 12, right? Because we know that's just 12. My j parts are j squared times j to the 1. And then my k part is just k to the negative 2. And, I'm not changing anything when I flip the order around here. I'm just putting kind of almost like the like terms together, okay? So now I try to simplify. So 12 times 1 times 1 is just 12. J squared times j is j cubed, or j to the 3rd. And then k to the negative 2 would be k to the, there's nothing else to change there. Okay? So this is equivalent to the right answer, but MathXL wouldn't accept it. In other words, it's not all the way simplified. So can I get a volunteer to simplify it? What would my simplified answer be there? Come on, somebody. I'm dying up here. Give me something. And so if you're having a lot of trouble with that step right there, I would recommend highly doing your 7-1 MathXL. That's going to help you with that step. Okay. Anyways, I want you to try the next 3, F, G, and H. Try your best. Do what you can in the next 2 minutes. Feel free to work with somebody around you too. You guys seem to be struggling more than I thought you might with this. So, actually, I thought we might be done with the notes by this point, but that's all right. We'll figure them out. One thing that could be helpful is I don't see really anybody with a calculator. Just get into the habit of, I know this is just all kind of new, but once we start into the notes, it's a good idea to have like your calculator with you. Okay, so we can do that computational stuff pretty quickly. All right, so instead of calling on you guys, since we're a little short on time here, I'm just writing up the answers. So just double check as you finish, and then I will just take questions if you have any. All right, so all three of those are up there. I'll give you a minute or so to kind of check yours. And I wouldn't worry about necessarily copying everything down, because you'll have the filled out notes posted. Really, this is just for you checking what you did. All right, so whatever you got done, I would check it, ask questions if you have any. I wouldn't worry about necessarily copying them all down. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about any of those? Any follow up to any of that? Okay, I'm going to continue to move ahead then. All right. So for these fraction exponents, or these rational exponents, this is where your calculator is going to come into play. All right. So for this, you're just going to use your calculator, and then a reminder. So like if I wanted to do 81 to the 1/4 of my calculator, that would be like I would type my base, so 81, and then I'm going to use the caret key, so it looks like that. And then, I could type 1/4 as a fraction, 1 ABC4. What I might do to save a little bit of time is probably, well, I'll do it like that, because you can't. What I was going to say is you could type 0.25 there, but then that wouldn't work for the 1/3. So in your calculator, just 81, caret key, 1 ABC4. Okay. And the caret key is right below the pi button. All right, on the left-hand side of the TI-30. Okay. All right, so 81 to the 1/4. Has anybody typed that in yet? What'd you get? 3 is what you should see. Okay, so that is equal to 3. What about 27 to the 1/3? You might type that in for me. All right, I know Rory's got it. Anybody else? Madison, what do we get? That's 3 as well. Very good. All right, let's try to skip down to D. All right, what about 64 to the power of 3 over 2? What do we get there? Rory? 512. All right. And 27 to the 2/3. What's that give me? Yes? 9. Okay, so you might, I don't know if you see it or not, but basically what you're doing, and you don't really have to know this, all you have to do is be able to type it in. But basically with a fraction exponent, what you have is like this top number is like your power. That's like what we think of as a normal exponent. And then the bottom number acts as like a root. So another way to say 81 to the power of 1/4 would be the 4th root of 81. Okay. So we haven't talked a lot about 4th roots or anything like that, but that's what that means. If I'm looking at D, another way to say that, like I said, you don't really need to write this down, but this also means the square root of 64 cubed, okay? Or 8 cubed, right? If you type 8 cubed, you're going to get 512. That's what that means, okay? Not that you need to know that, but I'm just throwing that out there, okay? All you really have to know how to do is type those in, okay? Everybody good on that one? All right. So let me just do one of the last ones, and then I'll just have you guys. I don't even know if you have any on Math Excel like this, but besides the one I do, I'll just have you guys maybe look at the filled out notes, okay? Because I want to post the assignment before you leave. Okay, so these ones at the bottom are just like the ones we've done before, except they give you some fraction exponents, right? So here's where your TI-30 helps, so you don't have to get common denominators and stuff. So anyways, you want to handle it the same way. So put your coefficients together. 2 times 3 times 5. Notice I just ignore those parentheses. Those parentheses don't really mean anything, okay, as far as multiplication goes. Then I have a to the 2/3 times a to the 1/3. And then I have b to the 4th times b to the 1/2. All right, so the coefficient's pretty simple and straightforward. Just in my calculator, 2 times 3 times 5, that's going to give me 30. Remember what we would be typing in for our power rule, right? For my exponent of a, really I want to know what's 2/3 plus 1/3. And that's really, you should know that without a calculator. What's 2/3 plus 1/3? 1, right? So you get a to the 1. Now, here's where your calculator is really going to save you some time, okay? Without a calculator, here I would need to get a common denominator to add those fractions. With my calculator, though, I can just type 1 ABC4 plus 1 ABC2. All right, and that's going to tell you that it's 3/4, so that gives me b to the 3/4. All right, and so that would be my final answer, or 30a b to the 3/4. All right, so again, sorry that took a little bit of time. I think we had a little bit of trouble getting going, but you guys will get used to this. There's going to be a learning curve going from the videos to the live lessons. But I think, again, I'm excited to be up and teach it again. Hopefully you feel like it's working for you. You now have 2 assignments, 7-1 and 7-2. I am going to give you a work day tomorrow, a chance to ask questions. So, but do notice that the assignments are coming out a little bit quicker now, okay?